Time to talk to the voice of the creative economy, Vincent Heeringa at Idealogue magazine, idealogue.co.nz. Morning, Vincent.
Good morning, Wammo.
Good morning. Today we're talking about the Mix and Mash competition, which announced the winners earlier on this week.
They did. It's one of my favourite competitions because it combines all the stuff I love, visual communications and data. So if you get complicated financial data, you could present it in terms of spreadsheets and tables, and I don't know if I'm like anybody else, but I look at spreadsheets and tables and I start thinking about beaches and holidays and anything other than what I'm supposed to be doing. Somehow my mind just goes pew off to the left.
Yeah, and we've talked about infographics on the show before, haven't we?
Yeah.
And how useful they are.
They are. So if you can turn spreadsheets and tables into coloured charts and moving diagrams and kind of, annotated diagrams, things that are visually pleasing and actually, tell a picture in 1,000 words, then to me you've done a brilliant job. You've converted at least half the population who are innumerate, including myself in that, into people who can understand numbers. Yeah. And this competition, Mix and Mash, is it's the second year running now, and what it does is it invites people to make data fun and kind of use the internet to the best, its best expression, I suppose, which is pictures, sound, data, and 3D animation. And
this is using government data, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it could be any data, actually, any kind of data. Like, so one of the winners was a story of a girl's grandmother, and the story was called A Grandmother. And it was that they discovered her life and wanted to tell, it sort of discovered stuff about her life and wanted to tell her story, and did it in this beautiful little, imagine a grandma's table with a lace doily and a cup of tea, and they just told the story through cards and a sweet little piece of music. And it's that kind of invention, I suppose, that really appeals to me, is storytelling for the 21st century.
Yeah. Okay. And the supreme winner, who was that?
Well, the supreme winner is one that really appealed to me was looking at GDP data, so that's gross domestic product, and overlaying that over a speech given by Sir Paul Callaghan, the Victoria University scientist, who has challenged us to imagine a New Zealand where Fonterra and where agriculture are not the dominant contributors to the economy.
Yeah.
You always have to put a little asterisk here to say we're not being critical of Fonterra or our farming friends, but we need more than just farming in New Zealand. And Sir Paul Callaghan has challenged us to create 100 companies that manufacture things, high-tech manufacturers. And so they've created this, the supreme winner of the competition has created a series of graphs that if you add 20, 30, 40, 50 of these companies, these kind of companies, and we're talking, high-tech manufacturing companies, what does it do to jobs? What does it do to GDP? What does it do to our national wealth? And the more you slide the bar along to add companies, the bigger the more the other graphs change. And it's just a beautiful little exercise in seeing how high tech can actually change the dynamic of our economy.
Wow, that is a very cool one, and just makes it easy for everyone, as we say, these infographics to understand and get across these ideas about growing the New Zealand economy.
I really think it does, and it makes it actually just a bit more fun to engage in economics because, let's face it, it's the dismal science.
Yeah, indeed.
You've put those on your site, have you?
Yeah. They are up. And also we should talk about vinyl Lionel as well.
Oh, yeah, that's cool, isn't it? So here is a guy who has overlaid YouTube hits and or YouTube views and Facebook likes over the top of New Zealand On Air data to try and match, is there a connection between New Zealand On Air funding for artists, there's performance artists, compared to popularity as measured by YouTube and Facebook. And I'm not sure if there is, actually. The one that it absolutely stands out in terms of social media is Brooke Fraser.
Oh, okay.
Most viewed and most liked. I suppose it's got to do with her American success.
Yeah, worldwide on that sort of scale. But what's really cool is that you can click on each track that's been funded by NZ On Air and actually watch the video as well. It's a really good resource in that respect.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting, isn't it, that you could spend a lot of money as a government department, building the stuff and having planning meetings about it, but Jesus, run a competition and throw it out there and let someone else build it because they're passionate and they love it and they want the prize. Yeah,
indeed. Well, that's cool. Now, so that's Mix and Mash, and there's the mixandmash.org.nz website as well, and the story up at Ideologue magazine.
Yeah.
But before we go, an interesting story from overseas.
The world's richest man, Warren Buffett, they call him the Sage of Omaha. He's kind of the capitalist because he is the original investor in the share market. He's often gone to for sage advice, which is why I suppose they call him the Sage of Omaha. And he has surprised everyone by coming out in support of Obama and Obama's plan to tax the rich and stimulate the economy through a jobs plan. It's surprising because he really is kind of the spokesperson for Wall Street.
Huh.
And he surprised people a couple of months ago by backing Obama's plan, and backing Obama personally contributed to his presidential campaign. But has reinforced it again just this week at a fundraising dinner, raised $13 million through the dinner. Must have been some dinner. And has surprised everyone by saying actually the American economy is looking really good. All his research tracking 70 companies that he invests in shows that sales are up, they're investing again, they're hiring people. He's feeling very bullish on America, thinks that Obama will be re-elected, and America's back on track.
Really? Wow. That's quite different.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool. You know, he really is quite the counter to the to the doomsayers, but has always had an independent point of view.
But as the backdrop to all this, you've got the Occupy Wall Street protests going on.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, he has never been a big fan of the Wall Street shenanigans, the whole derivatives market and the hedge fund type capitalism. He is the original capitalist that you invest in companies and you back companies to make things for people. You don't invest in financial instruments.
Right.
And in that sense, he's been a bit of an outsider, but it's paid dividends. He's now the richest man in the world.
Interesting stuff. Thanks very much, Vincent.
It's a pleasure, Wammo.
Dialogue.co.nz is where you'll find more of Vincent Heeringa. It's now